I'm an Apple sheep. It's okay to admit that. Hi guys, so today we are gonna do my 1 week recap of the Samsung Z Flip. I've had this phone actually for over a week now. I wanted to give it a real good amount of time to get my thoughts. And let me just say before we get into it, I am so irritated today. I am pregnant, my skin looks like trash, and I'm tired, it's hot. There's just a lot going on, and this Z Flip, I'm not gonna lie, has caused me some issues. I basically had major issues getting service on this phone and then getting service back on my iPhone. It was a huge dilemma, and that's Verizon's fault, but I still wanted to document it because you might run into that issue too. I also went into a bit of a rant as to why this phone is not for me. If you're watching this and you're like, ha, this Apple sheep, I knew she wasn't gonna stick with the Samsung. Obviously not, I was getting it to do the review. So anyway, here's the clips. Oh no. Not me recording.
Oh shit.
3 days later.
We are going to Verizon because I have major issues right now with my service. So I need to leave in a few minutes, but we are gonna do my makeup real quick. Guys, let me tell you the story. So I activated the Z Flip on Monday night. I had to chat with the Verizon people because you can't just transfer the service yourself. You have to actually contact Verizon because it's between the iPhone and the Android. So it uses the eSIM and it's like a whole thing. They have to do it for you. At least with Verizon, that's how I had to do it. So I messaged them and they are doing it, and keep in mind it's like 9 p.m. so I'm like, I'm gonna start the week activating the phone and we're gonna do the proper review. I've already had the phone for like a week now, but I haven't activated it yet because something in me was like, I'm a little reluctant to do it, and I couldn't figure out why because it's not a big deal. I've switched phones every year, no issue. So anyway, I'm chatting with them. It's taking longer than usual, so I'm like, is everything good? And they're like, yeah, there's actually been an error with the transfer. So I look at my phone. Both my iPhone and the Z Flip have no service, and my Apple Watch no longer has service because I link it to my iPhone. So everything's out of service, and I'm like, okay, then can you guys just put it back normal? Like, this is starting to get too much. And they're like, yeah, no problem. Like, we'll just put the service back on the phone. More hours go by. Now it's like 12 a.m. and I'm still waiting. For some reason, they have to escalate it to like their next tier of people, and I'm like, dude, I'm so tired. Like, I'm literally 7 months pregnant right now. I'm like, I just want to go to bed, but now I have no service. Eventually it gets to like 1 a.m. and they're still working on it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed. Can you give me some kind of ticket so we can like pick this up tomorrow? So they're like, yeah, sorry about that. And I'm just like, this is so ridiculous. Like, all I asked you guys to do is switch the service to my iPhone to the Z Flip, and they couldn't do that, and now they can't get service back on my iPhone. So I'm just like, what is going on? I go to bed. The next morning, the Z Flip has service, and I'm just like, what? So I chat them again. I'm like, I really just want the service back on my iPhone. Like, the Z Flip is working now, but I'm over this. So they were like, oh yeah, message us by Friday if you don't have an answer. And I'm like, so I'm gonna have days now with no service? Like, great. I'm going to the Verizon store today. It's Thursday. I just want this fixed. I will still review the Z Flip. When it comes to like using it for a week properly with service, like, that's just not gonna happen. I really, really, really hope they can fix it because this has been so stressful. I literally couldn't sleep that night because I was just like so stressed out about my phone. I look so tired and puffy. Why are we stressing a pregnant girl out? This is where we're at right now. Like, don't be stressing us out.
2 hours later.
Okay guys, we were able to fix it. That was such trash. Verizon is trash. I mean, the guy that helped me was very helpful, obviously, but do not chat them. Do not do any of that through the chat because, listen, I'm a chat person, okay? I love a good chat, but I honestly will never do that again. Like, no, honey. Let this be your warning. If you're somebody that switches their phone a lot, just keep that in mind when it comes to the service. If you want to switch for like a fun moment, it's not that easy. Maybe it's just a Verizon issue that I had. I sometimes have bad luck with this kind of stuff, but yeah, I definitely just wanted to include that. I'm just so happy my phone is working again, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm an Apple sheep. It's okay to admit that. This video might be rage bait, especially for the people that really like Samsung and Android. I like Apple for many reasons, and I have been humbled in this experience. I knew I loved Apple, but just that week of not having my phone and not having iMessage, there's a lot of other features that I really missed. I missed copying something from my iPhone and pasting it to my iMac. I missed doing AirDrop. If I had a link on my phone, I would AirDrop it to my iPad or to my iPhone, like if I'm following a recipe. I just take advantage of those Apple features all day. It really showed me like, okay, the way all the products work together, I really appreciate. Even though it can be kind of boring with the iOS and the way it looks sometimes, it works really well. And it made me realize like how much Apple puts so much thought into every detail of how things work, and everything just feels very intuitive with them. Because I'm so used to all of these features and I have the whole ecosystem, I genuinely enjoy using it. I don't feel trapped in it. I like love being here. Getting rid of my phone was a big part of that ecosystem. I'm not saying the phone is bad, but keep in mind like you're watching someone that literally does Apple videos and has all Apple products. So if you're someone like me who really likes Apple and you have the MacBook, you have the iPad, you have the iPhone, you have the watch. I pay for cellular on this watch and it didn't work anymore once I switched it over to the Samsung. My watch was basically just like useless other than being like a step tracker, you know? It was a tough couple of days. I didn't think it would go this way. I really thought I would be able to like go live out the full week and I would come back with like a really solid review, but I was severely humbled. Like I was so humbled. I learned that I love Apple and I already knew that, but all it did was make me appreciate my iPhone and all my Apple products more. Anyway, I'm gonna continue using the phone, just not with cell service, and I'm gonna get to the end of the week and I'm gonna give it a fair review, because even though I know already that it doesn't work for me to switch fully over, I'm still gonna explore the other features of the phone and the customization, because I know that's what a lot of people like about the phone, and you can decide if it's right for you. This is just my personal experience. Do not feel attacked. It's still a good phone. It's just not for me. And that's okay.
1 week later.
Now that you've seen the backstory as to what has gone on with the phone and all of my trials and tribulations, now we can do a bit of a recap. If you're expecting like an in-depth, proper review, I literally don't have the brain capacity for that, so I hope you appreciate my casual style. Can't be bothered to do a real tech review. It's just not gonna happen. Let's start with just some general things before I get into the pros and cons. The first thing I had to do on the Z Flip was turn on the gestures, because I could not get behind the virtual home button that it had. I needed like the swipe up to go home. I could not go back to the home button, even if it was on the screen. It just didn't work for me. And for the cover screen, I downloaded an app called Multistar, and that allows you to launch your apps from the cover screen. I highly recommend getting that. It's just a nice way to use the phone without having to open it. I also recommend downloading the keyboard that you like. The Samsung one is okay, but I think the Gboard is pretty good, and I know there's other ones, but I recommend doing that too. Some more customization and settings I did. I changed the cover screen timeout to 30 seconds so that it would show a little bit longer on the screen before locking. I also changed the navigation bar to look cleaner. It had a ton of different icons in the top, and I really didn't like that, so I just made it it look more simple. I also downloaded the Good Lock app, and there's tons of settings in there to customize, which I will say, like, it low-key gets kind of overwhelming with how much you can change, but I do recommend it if you're someone that likes to customize a lot of things about their phone. I also turned off the app icon badges, and this is amazing. They only have one setting for that. Samsung knew what they were doing when they made that, because on Apple, if you guys didn't know, I hate the badges on the apps, so I always turn those off, and you have to do it one by one, but on the Samsung, it's literally just one setting. I also turned off the app labels, and I think that looks really clean too. I turned off the edge panel because it was super distracting. I felt like I was never gonna use it, and it just didn't look good. And then I also made the screen a little bit less zoomed in, just so you could see more on the screen, because I felt like it was a little tight because it's skinnier than my 16 Pro Max. Those are like the quick customizations that I did that I recommend you do if you have this phone. And now let's get into the pros and cons, the true tea about this phone. I'm gonna start with the pros because I want to start on a positive note, even though I just showed you guys my major rant. The first thing I think most people would agree with is that this phone has a lot of customization options on it, and in general it is superior to Apple if you're comparing to the iPhone, because there's just so much more you can customize, and you can really make the phone however you want it to look, which is awesome. The flip aspect is really nice. I love being able to like fit it in my pocket or in my bag. The way I can hold it with one hand like this is just very comfortable. I love the flipping aspect, and that's another reason I think a lot of people are gonna pick this phone specifically. The phone itself is also really light and thin, so it's very comfortable. This phone is super thin. It's a lot lighter than my iPhone 16 Pro Max. It just feels really sleek, and it's not giving brick like the iPhone 16 Pro Max is. And I really appreciate that, because even when it's folded, it is not very chunky at all. All of the screens on this phone are clear, they're bright, they're very snappy, they look really good, the colors are great. And when it comes to the theme, when you find a good theme, it really changes the whole vibe of your phone in the best way. It changes all the details of the phone. It's not just the home screen or the lock screen, it's everything. It's like all the menus, all the settings. It is really cool how much a theme can transform your phone and give it a whole different vibe in like an instant. And in general, I do appreciate how this phone was a new experience. It was definitely different and more refreshing than what I'm used to when I'm getting a new phone, because it's like iPhones, you kind of know what to expect every year, and they kind of look the same year to year, versus this, I really enjoyed getting to use something different for a little bit. It really reminded me of back in the day when you would get a new phone, and it just felt so different each time you got a new phone, and it was very like 2000s, if that makes sense. I also love that you could use the cover screen as a camera viewfinder and record on the back cameras, because if you guys saw my initial unboxing, the inside camera is not very good. Like, it's pretty blurry. Someone even said that my camera was dirty. Honey, no it wasn't. You can look up anybody's review. The inside camera is not good. To be fair, these cameras on the front are a lot better, and it's easy to use them because you can use the front screen to do that. I'm sure there's a lot more pros than what I've already listed, but those are the main things that really stuck out to me as someone that only uses iPhones. But now let's get into the cons. The camera is good, but it is not comparable to my iPhone. I really believe the iPhone has one of the best cameras ever on a phone, if not the best. I noticed, especially in low light, it was trash in low light. The iPhone is way better with low light pictures, and I did take example pictures here so you can see for yourself. It is a lot better on the iPhone. Another thing is, even though the customization is so good, it could be a con for some people, and honestly, it's a con for me. I am someone that likes really simplistic design, and I appreciate everything being super cohesive. I don't know if it's because I'm a marketing person, but I just appreciate appreciate, like, on the iPhone, everything's the exact same color, exact fonts, like super consistent branding. And with this, it almost gets messy. Like, if you get too deep in the customization, it can start to look like not polished. And that's something I really like about Apple, is how polished the experience is. Apple is known for their simplicity and that polished look, and you don't get that as much on the Samsung once you start customizing a lot. Obviously, it's up to you how you want to customize it, but I found a lot of settings I didn't want to mess with because I wanted everything to stay cohesive. And also, as someone very new to Samsung, there was a lot of things that I didn't know about customization that I had to like go and look up, so it wasn't as intuitive. Like, I would have never known that you could do the gestures until someone had told me. And in general, I just noticed like certain things are easier and more intuitive on the iPhone. For example, swiping back. You have to swipe from the edge on the Samsung, versus on the iPhone you can swipe back anywhere on the screen and it'll take you back. And that just kind of annoyed me. It just didn't feel as intuitive. Some things just felt different for the sake of being different from Apple. And I think Apple and Samsung do this on purpose. Like, they try to not be too similar, but some stuff is just annoying. Like, for example, on here, the brightness setting is horizontal, and on the iPhone, it's vertical. So the horizontal doesn't work right in my head. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm just like, why do you have to complicate it? Like, just make it vertical, you know? I know this list might start to sound picky. I'm being brutally honest. Like, this is not just, oh, these specs are better than these specs. Like, I'm really trying to give you guys the everyday details that I noticed that I think some people might not mention because it's so small. Another tiny thing is I don't like the weather app on this phone. I specifically really love the weather app on the iPhone. I just think it's so pretty. It was a downgrade on the Samsung. Like, I'm sorry, but it was. Another huge con is if you have a lot of paid apps on the iPhone and you're switching to a Samsung, you're gonna have to rebuy the apps. Unless your purchase is like through the brand and it's like registered with your account or something, for the most part you have to rebuy the apps. So that's like really just not it. Going back to the customization, some of the themes were questionable. Some of them just looked like they were selling you AI. It just looked like AI generated kind of like trash a little bit. Not all of them. Some themes are really good, but other ones are just like, this is not it, and you're making people pay for this. Like, this looks like Talking Tom as a theme, and you're making me pay for that. That's ridiculous. Going back into the Apple simplicity, Apple wouldn't have a theme store with AI cats for sale. It's not refined. This is about the Z Flip specifically. I don't like where the volume button is. It's on the same side as the lock button, and it's bigger than the lock button. I kept accidentally hitting it instead of locking the phone, or vice versa. I just feel like it should be on this side, and they want it to be different really bad. My camera's overheating, so let's take a small break. Okay, we're back. So I have one more con, and then we'll go to the final thoughts. Lastly, one annoying thing is that when you download all of your apps, you have to log into them. Unless you go and transfer your passwords from your Mac to your Android, you have to manually type that in. So either way, that is a bit of a hassle, and I did find a tutorial on how to do that. And once I imported my passwords, it was definitely a lot easier. But I did notice that it didn't work for every app. Like, I still had to type it in for about like a little less than half of them. So even though I did import the passwords, not every time would that pop up. And with Apple, it almost always pops up to autofill the password. So I just found that to be a little bit like unreliable compared to the iPhone. Now let's do our closing thoughts and do kind of a recap. And I'm gonna try to be really unbiased because you guys already saw that I decided a Samsung is not for me, but I'm still gonna give my overall thoughts. In general, it is a great phone. It really is. Even though I've complained a lot in this video, it's a great phone. Don't let my negative experience put you off. I have very specific requirements on what I need in a phone, and I think for like your everyday person, it's a good phone. And honestly, almost any phone these days in 2025 is gonna be a good phone. The customization is definitely more than I ever expected, and I'm sure there's still so much I need to learn, because obviously, like, I have only had the phone for less than a month, and I've had an iPhone since I was in middle school, so there's definitely gonna be some things that I might be wrong about or I might have missed, so don't get mad at me. But again, this is like my first impressions with the phone, and I do think in general, like, if you love the customization and love freedom over that kind of stuff, this will be a good phone for you. However, if you value simplicity like I do, the iPhone is probably better for you. It really depends on what you value and also like what products you already have, because like I said earlier, if you already have a MacBook and an iPad and an Apple Watch or any of those products, it's probably better to just have the iPhone with it, and they work really well together. And if you're like me, which I know there's a lot of people like me who only stick with iPhone and are genuinely considering switching, this is the review for you. You know, this is not really for people that already like Samsung, have Samsung, or any of that. Like, this is really not the video for you. This is really for like the Apple people. Again, maybe you don't care about those things and you just want a new experience. In general, it's a good phone. I would still recommend it if you're thinking about getting it and you've already considered all of these things and you're like, well, is it a good phone? It is a good phone. However, hold on, I actually forgot to mention one thing. This is another con. The crease on it is very noticeable now. Do you see this? And you can see it when the phone is on too. It's almost like the text that's in this crease is more shallow than the rest of the screen, and you can really see it. And I think this will apply to any flip phone. So if you're debating getting a folding phone, there will be a crease. Like, there's no avoiding it, and it's definitely gotten way more noticeable over time. So that's just another thing to consider. If that's gonna bother you, this is not the phone for you. Those are my personal opinions. Some of them are just straight facts and other ones are just me being picky. I know this will annoy some people, but it's like, it's really not that deep. Like, they're both good phones, and there's people that are gonna prefer Samsung, and then there's people like me that prefer the iPhone. For some reason, people think that's a crime. With this video ending, literally the second I press upload on this video, I'm going into iPhone mode because it's iPhone season. I'm unboxing the 17, and I'm very excited, okay? I'm not gonna lie, using this phone made me appreciate my iPhone even more, and it made me more excited for the 17. Stay mad.